Vast improvement for him and for the team as a whole. Graham Souness, Gary Neville alongside me. What was the key to this improvement, Gary?
The first goal was a big moment. I think the game was probably maybe Leicester's in the first 15 or 20 minutes. They had probably the best 2 or 3 moments, but as soon as the goal went in, the belief just went right through the United team. Leicester fell to pieces, and the game completely changed in that moment. It was probably the best I've seen United for 15, 20 minutes in terms of the sort of energy. The play was good. They looked dominant, and you should always be confident out there. And I think in the first 20 minutes they weren't quite confident, maybe naturally, because it has been a difficult couple of weeks, a bit of pressure on the game today. But in that last 20 minutes, the first half, it was what you would expect, and they have to now repeat that as a constant and not just make it a one-off. Because last weekend's Watford, forget criticism in newspapers, forget criticism from anyone, it is not good enough. It's not good enough just as a performance. It's not good enough. They can't go that low, have him get to that standard today. They can't dip back now below that. So they've set themselves a good standard today, particularly in that first half, last 20 minutes. They've got to remember last week against Watford and think, I'm not going back down there.
And you can imagine what the papers will be saying tomorrow. He dropped Rooney, and look at what he got in return.
Yeah, I thought they were started the game in a nervy fashion. The first goal did settle them. You know, if you're Leicester, you've conceded 3 goals from set pieces. You know, with the makeup of their back four, that should never happen. You know, Morgan will attack it, Huth will attack it. It just shouldn't happen. And it put Man United an easy street. Did they play slick, fast-moving football? No. I thought, you know, 3 goals from set pieces. You win 4-1. I thought the second goal was a really good goal. But I'm still looking for more. I mean, you would see the Man United performance today was steely, determined, professional. The second half, forget the second half, they'd done their work in the first half. But I'm still looking for more. You know, for Man United to get anywhere near winning this league, they'll have to be better than that. I mean, they can't rely on scoring from set pieces every week. You've got to have more imagination in your team.
But I think it'd be fair to say that for much of this season so far, we've been looking for a lot more from Paul Pogba. How much more did we get today?
I thought it was maybe his best performance, and I think that when you sign someone for that level of money, they have to influence the game. And I thought today, first half, he was the best player on the pitch. He influenced the game. This was a little crossfield pass in the first part, but he did some really good things, from passes, control over his head, difficult moments. Even this was my favourite moment, actually getting around the back post, jumping, climbing, arriving in the box and showing that sort of real determination. That would have been a brilliant moment for Pogba, and he remembered shooting from distance. So I think in the first half he seemed even a little bit more determined. It would seem to me like Jose Mourinho had said to him during the week, you need to sprint back when you lose the ball, because we saw him a couple of times, didn't we? Yeah. When United lost the ball, sprinting back. So I think today he's maybe had a bit of a wake-up call in the week. That was a good little left-footed cross in the second half. To me, it was an all-round performance where he did a lot of the different aspects of midfield play very well, and certainly what I think was his best game for United so far. He influenced the game, that's what he has to do.
And was part of that, Graham, a little bit, having Herrera alongside him rather than Marouane Fellaini?
Well, it's very different, obviously, Herrera. I don't know, I still come back. I think Carrick would be a better partner for him. I think Carrick is one who looks in there all the time. With Pogba, what I think Pogba should be doing is getting in front of the ball a lot of the time, you know, making runs into the box. For me, he looks like he can run all day. He looks like he's a real athlete. And I'm thinking of someone, you know, you highlighted, you thought that your favourite part was him getting on the far post and heading back and across for Rashford. I'd like to see him do that more, because he would be an obvious threat arriving late. He's got power and he's got size and he can head the ball. And I just think it's like he's playing well within himself. I just think he's got so much more to offer, and I'd like to see him amongst the goals more, getting forward and being a real threat. And I think if I was playing against him, I'm happy because I'm seeing him there most of the time. I don't want to be matching his runs all the time into the box, and he would run you into the ground because he's so athletic.
Right, let's hear from the United manager. Jose Mourinho is alongside Patrick Davison.
Jose, how big a performance, how big a response was that from your players?
No, I think it was a very good performance. Obviously, a very good result. It's not easy to win against them, and even more difficult to win in such a comfortable way as we did. But I think the performance was really good. Obviously, in the second half, nobody was expecting to score 4 more goals and win 8-0. So it was more about control. But to be fair, we wanted a little bit more. But I think that Ranieri was very good, because the way he read the game at half-time, and his options were very good to keep some balance, because I think he felt at that moment that the game was lost and was a question of lose in a heavier way, or to lose with some control of the result and the performance. So I think Ranieri did very well.
Where were the improvements with your team today?
I think we started well for the first time, I can say, because normally our second halves are much better than the first. I don't know. We prepare the games in the same way, with the same professionalism. Our intention is obviously to start really well, but today we had intensity, we had movement, we had good dynamic. Defensively, we were very strong against a team that, I repeat, is easy to analyze but is difficult to cope with. And this time we analyzed and we coped. So to be back home and beat the champions is good. And last season we couldn't beat them. This season we beat them already twice. So I think it's really good, a good performance.
Before the match, you wanted to focus on the players you did pick and who were out there. Who shone? Who shone for you?
The team. The team. I think the team played very well. Point. You score 4 goals. Your striker doesn't score a goal, and I think the striker plays phenomenal. I think Ibra played absolutely fantastic in the way he was key in our attacking football and also in the starting of our pressure. So probably you are going in other directions. I'm happy when you do that by a positive way, but I prefer to say that my team as a team played very well.
Given that you've said there, Ibrahimovic, excellent, the players around him, superb, is Wayne Rooney going to have to be patient now to get back in this team, or does he remain a big player for you?
A big player for me, a big player for United, and a big player for this country. I think I have nothing else to say. He's my man. I trust him completely. He's as happy as I am in this moment, and that's a team.
He's in there happy with his teammates, is he?
Of course. His team won. His United won. That's normal.
Is it now a good start for Manchester United? You look at the 6 games as a whole and it's swung one way and then the other, but do you now look at this group of games and think it's been a good start?
We lost 6 points in the Premier League, but the reality is that we are not drawing. We are winning. So we have 4 victories. We have 12 points. So the situation of 2 defeats, if you have a lot of draws and no defeats, in the end is about the same. So the fact that we have 4 victories is really important, because we have 12 points. But I think today was about the result, was about the performance, was about the security, was about the happiness of the fans. I don't know when they had for the last time such a good performance and such an impressive result at half-time, 4-0 at half-time. So good. And Thursday we have a very important match in the Europa League, and to be back here after a victory is better for us, is better for the fans.
Thanks, Jose. Well done.
Thank you.
You mentioned those draws. No draws for United so far this season. He touched on Wayne Rooney there. Do you think, Gary, there's a sense of really, I mean, no player likes to be dropped, but actually Rooney might be relieved given the first few weeks he's had?
I think that's the challenge now for him, is how he accepts and copes with it. I think that he's going to see a lot of headlines tomorrow that United are better without Rooney. That'll just be the inevitable. Not necessarily correct off one performance, but he'll play Thursday night in the Europa League. He's got a game Thursday, Wayne Rooney. He had a game last Wednesday. He doesn't have to play every single game now. So he's had 800 games in his career, Wayne Rooney, for United in England. It's a phenomenal amount of games. I played 650 at the age of 36. He's 31. He's played 800. It's unbelievable the career he's had so far. So the transition for him in the last part of his career, this moment was always going to come. It was always going to come. It's probably been building up now for a year or so. And he should relax. You know, he's run his race in a way, Wayne Rooney. If Wayne Rooney retired tomorrow, Sky would be running goal shows for the next 2 weeks, lauding him and telling him what a great career he's had. The reality of it is now he's about managing the last 3-4 years of his career in as good a way as possible, contributing to the team, coming on for 15 minutes, playing on Thursday night and making sure his teammates are prepared for Thursday night and he plays well, he can still have a good career at this club. It's not the end of Wayne Rooney today, it's just a different part of his career, and I think that if he accepts that, it can be equally as enjoyable. You get to go to Dubai in October and November and things like that. It's
and equally as important, being a good guy around the dressing room.
yes, he has to be.
Sean, to mention, this man, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Fergie keeps them, dare I say it, beyond your sell-by date.
Without sharing that with me.
Just because how good a professionals they were, and turning up on time, training properly. When you're injured, this is how you behave. Just the simple things, and Wayne would have a big part to play in that.
Gary, when you look at the fixtures they've got coming up, United, Europa League action coming up this week, but there's some significant Premier League fixtures. They're at home to Stoke their problems at the moment. Then comes Liverpool away, Chelsea away in the Premier League, then that huge EFL Cup game at home to City once again. It was key, was it not, that they had a performance like they did today heading into a run of games like that?
Definitely, and I think the word I used before the game was trust. I think that other than that 3 months last season when sort of he was carved up at Chelsea, Jose Mourinho, I've always trusted his teams. They've always been reliable. I think what he'll be working out at the moment is here, who he can trust, who can make them reliable, because that performance in the first half today has to become the norm. And the bigger tests are to come. Chelsea, big test. City, again, big test. Liverpool away, big test. That's where the ultimate judgment will come of this team, and whether he can really trust them and whether they're really reliable. And I don't think one performance, after seeing it last weekend, so we shouldn't get carried away today about Manchester United, say they're back. And just as last week after Watford, we shouldn't say they're a disgrace. It's still a team that you can't properly trust, and Jose Mourinho doesn't properly trust. And we'll see in the next few weeks whether he can get them better and more reliable.
Well, Leicester City only lost 3 Premier League games all of last season. They've already lost that many so far this season. We'll hear from Claudio Ranieri next after a punishing day at Old Trafford. It has been a heavy defeat for the champions at Old Trafford. They've lost by 4-1 against Manchester United. Let's hear from Ranieri alongside Patrick Davison.
Claudio, clearly the game was lost in that first half. What went wrong from your perspective?
It's unbelievable what happened, because we started very well. The first 20 minutes was our match. We put them under pressure. We pressed very well. We tried to create some good chances. Maybe we lost the last pass, but we were good. We started very well, but suddenly we switch off. It's not possible to consider 3 goals and corner. That means you are unconcentrated, you are so smart, and that's it. The match was gone at the first half.
3 goals from corners, did that really surprise you, given how solid we're used to your team being?
Yes, of course. We are very solid on the corner and free kicks. It's difficult to score a goal against us, but today it was very, very strange for us.
Are you doing anything differently from corners? Are you marking any differently? Maybe with the new directive, with no shirt pulling, it just looked like maybe there was a few defenders just a touch off their man at times?
No, look, we until now we were very, very strong. You know why you had to change when your defense respond very well. Today we made some mistakes. Maybe it was concentration, because okay, I can understand they are very tall and they score with the header, but when they score with a very smart corner, that's not possible. We aren't very, very attentive.
Tell us about the changes you made at half-time. 4-0, but you took off 2 big players, Vardy and Mahrez.
No, at that time the match was gone, and I prefer to reserve them for the next match and Tuesday against Porter.
How quickly do your players need to respond with such a massive match in midweek?
I told this in the dressing room. Okay, we lost. It was a pity, because the first 20 minutes was good, but now it's important to clean our mind, because now arrived the Champions League, the first match at home, and we have to show our best.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you to you.
So those are thoughts of Claudio Ranieri. Jamie Carragher is still with us. Let's get your thoughts now, Jamie. You mentioned that good start that they had, and then things really began to unravel for the champions. Why?
Well, it did. I mean, I think Gary mentioned before in terms of the first goal how important that was, but there was actually a set piece just before that involving the 2 same players, and if you just run it on now and we'll just highlight the 2 players involved. And this was Huth. This was 4 or 5 minutes beforehand, and that's Small. And straight away I spotted it from up here and thought, he looked free, Chris Smalling, and if that's a better ball, You see the position he finds himself in, the centre of the goal. If that's a better set piece, he goes and heads that in. And then you see it again. I think Gary mentioned it. The positions, the starting positions, as we saw before, he's not close enough to start with. People think it's fine being in that position and the attacking play will run onto you. There's too many bodies. You end up getting bumped and moved about. And he finds himself underneath the ball, and Chris Smalling gets the goal. And you think of the players involved, and the centre-backs Graham mentioned, Huth and Morgan shouldn't be conceding goals like that. But if you go to the second goal, this is another goal, if you think to last season, that you wouldn't expect Leicester to concede. Now that is, if we look at it there, every Leicester player is behind the ball. That's what we saw last season, winning the ball late and then Jamie Vardy counter-attacking. Now I know Kante's not available, but it's not just about Kante. In these positions, it's no good just having people behind the ball. You've still got to be aggressive. And as this ball comes in now, there's no challenge here. There's no one going with the runner. There's no challenge on Pogba. And then Wes Morgan and Huth both go for the challenge, miss it, and Danny Simpson doesn't get the cover. We shouldn't forget what a fantastic finish it was from Mata. That wasn't an easy chance. But you think of two sort of situations where the first two goals come from, and that was imperative of how Leicester won the league last season, how important it was, and that's where they failed again today.
Jamie, thanks very much. Guys, let's just quickly go through the other goals. Starting off with Marcus Rashford, 7-7 now for club and country. How well worked a goal was this?
It was brilliant. If you just, it's the eye contact between Blind and Mata. Actually, last season under Van Gaal, there were a lot of very good short corners that United took, and this is a fantastic corner. Well worked. They did switch off. Amati there with Mata switches off, but you'd have to say, give some credit to United for, I think, a really well worked one. And, you know, you have to say when Daley Blind and Mata are involved, they usually are the ones that are sort of the innovation comes from them, and creativity, and it's very good.
And here, Graham, Fuchs just gets out-muscled, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got him, he's there, he thinks he can deal with it. Pogba just too strong. It was a mismatch in the end. Look, he's there, he knows what's coming, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Now, there were two positives for Leicester City, Gary, in that they didn't lose the second half, they won it, and Damari Gray produced a beauty.
Yeah, I mean, he'll go home tonight, Damari Gray, and I think, you know, his parents will say to him, "Oh, bad day, son." He said, "No, it was absolutely brilliant, unbelievable." He absolutely was fantastic in the second half. He scored an absolute world-class goal. He put in, I think we had another shot that was fantastic. He put in a cross that was brilliant. He really was impressive, and that goal is, I mean, it's Cristiano Ronaldo like that.
It's like, watch, he goes on his toes here, watch. He's on his toes before he strikes it, which Ronaldo does. Look, he's on his toes.
Yeah. It is that Ronaldo technique, that sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, where the ball's dipping, shifting, moving, and I say not many players can do that. It's a pretty good day for him out of what is a bad day for Leicester.
Just quickly, where does this leave Leicester now? How much damage do they take away from here?
They're losing goals from set pieces. That was not Leicester last year. If you've come here and lost 3 goals, you lose 1, the next set piece, corner kick up against you, everybody's on their toes. It didn't happen today. 3 from set pieces is just not good enough. You've got to improve on that.
Graham, Gary, thanks for your company.